what the economy will be, what people will be, what humanity will be. All these are matter of changes. See, during the heydays of the rebellion in Ireland, the Irish Rebellion, Irish Revolution, Easter 1916, the poet W.B. Yeats said about the change, all change utterly. All change utterly. A terrible beauty is born. I think that sums up post-COVID India also. All changed utterly, but a terrible beauty will be born. It is this note of optimism which is reflected in the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi. I'm very glad that the doyen in the field of labor in the country, chairman of the Contract Labor Advisory Board, Mr. Bhumrao, has echoed this mood of optimism in the country. And Mr. Lal Goyal said, the future is going to be India's. India is going to be the leader of the world in the post-COVID situation. Now coming back to specific issues, what is the course of development or reconstruction and development? To borrow the expression by Mr. Bhumrao, revival after survival, yes. That is going to be the theme. The economy. So we had the opinion of the chief of IMF, economic chief of IMF, Geeta Govinath, and also Raghuram Rajan, Arvind Subramanian, and also rating agencies. Geeta has been on record recently. She said, anything can happen. Nobody knows. There will certainly be slowdown, which we are all experiencing. There can be recession. There can even be depression. And what is the difference between recession and depression? I was trying to understand it for a long, long time. Recently, I came across the simplest definition for this. Harry S. Truman said, the Great Depression of the 1930s, he said, when your neighbor loses his job, that is recession. When you lose your job, that is depression. So I think both these are going to happen in the future. Well, but there are also a silver lining in this, among this dark cloud. As Gandhiji, you see, the answer to this question has already been given by Gandhiji. Yes, Gandhiji has a relevance now. He said, earth has everything for man's needs, but not his greed. Now in the coming future, we have to make a difference between what is essential and what is not essential. I think the essentials will certainly be taken care of in the post-COVID world. Renunciation. See, we have been slaves to a consumption culture, ostentatious display of wealth. We felt that India is bad, Indian ethos is bad, our heritage is bad. Our youngsters or new generation are taught to believe that the West is the best. This has to go. We have to come back to our roots. We have to come back to the basics. Come back to the field. Who fed this country? Who kept this country above starvation? The farmer. Who ran this country? This country was run by the housewives. Yes, the kitchen cabinet took care of this country. 138 crores of people were looked after by its women. Therefore, our accent should be on farm and the home. Yes, the farmer. We have to go back to the farming concept. The primary sector in agriculture and economics, yes. We have to encourage farming. And we have tremendous potential for this. India can emerge in the post-COVID world as the organic farming hub of the world. We can feed the world. If we could feed the entire nation without any problem, there is not even sports scarcity. FCA's granaries were full. Go back to agriculture. Bring the youngsters also into the field of agriculture. Agripreneurship has to be developed. We have to evolve a system where the housewives are never cash starved. Therefore, a kind of direct benefit transfer has to be introduced. I do not want to take more of your time now. I will set the tone now. When my role now is that of the one-man commission on labor. But it is not confined only to labor, because labor is integral part of industry. Labor is an integral part of development anywhere, as the chairman rightly pointed out. Therefore, we can also discuss the other items. I cannot give any commitment on behalf of government, but I can assure you that many of your suggestions will find reflection in the report which I submit. And thanks to you, Mr. Nal Goyal, you have been giving suggestions to me, which has been passed over to the government. Now I find in the Prime Minister's speech, and also maybe we'll hear more when the details are given by the Finance Minister, many of your points have been accepted. So I think this seminar, this is a webinar, of course. About webinar, a cynic said, a webinar is a group of persons who individually can do nothing and collectively can sit here and there and decide that nothing can be done. But this webinar, I'm sure, will be an exception to this. Good suggestions will come, and like the Nal Goyal suggestions, I'm sure that these suggestions will also find a place in the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Bose, to remind me about my suggestion and complimenting me. Yes, I wrote one article about the Indian economy, how to raise the funds without taxing the citizen, and in which I mentioned that if the government of India will inject 10% of the GDP, then the Indian economy can boom and survive and revive. And I am so happy that Honorable Prime Minister in his yesterday's speech spoke about that. And I must give thanks to you for taking the note of my suggestions and passing it to the higher ups. And that's why this has come. Now, as you have mentioned about the migrants and all the things, I am sure that under your chairmanship, you will definitely keep in mind about the welfare of the laborers and the migrants, because after all, they are the person who have built up this country, whether they are working with the builders, whether they were working with the industries, even in the hospitals, wherever the labor class, they are the main backbone of the country. Now I would like to go to our next eminent panelist. He is Dr. P. Subramania. He is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. With more than 3 decades of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He is gold medalist in economics. He is a person down to earth, ready to listen and eager to implement. I remember I had a meeting with him and he told me one thing, Mr. Goyal, knowledge of everything is not possible for a human being, but if you have logic, then you can do many things. And I'm sure, Dr. Subramania, that sentence is a very, very golden sentence. Because if we think of the logically, we can do many things. Like today, I have become editor and host. I never thought in my life that I will be doing this work. One of my friends commented that you are working as an anchor. I am sure that whether anchor or host or editor or any name, but I am learning every day. And this is because one of the reasons is you, that you have inspired me to do any type of activity. And I'm so happy that even in this time of COVID-19, I am busy myself and try to give the services to the humanity and to the public at large. So now the main question today is the youth, because youth is a directionless right now. Nobody knows what is going to happen about the colleges, exams, future education. And you being the Vice Chancellor of a very reputed Mangalore University, you are the best person to explain how the youth has to be guided, what are the government plans, how the education will be given to them, because nobody wants that their ear is to be spoiled and all those things. So I'm sure that your speech will be very, very inspiring to the youth who are listening either on this or on the television sets or on Facebook or on YouTube. Yes, Dr. Subramania, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lal Goyal. We were listening to Mr. Surabhi Bhumrao and also Dr. C. Anand Bose. They have rightly highlighted that COVID-19 pandemic has created a kind of impact. And at this point of time, we have to think collectively, and we cannot afford to develop any cold feet. As far as educational scenario is concerned, compared to pre-COVID-19 situation, now we are experiencing certain things called certain lessons are already learned by all of us, whether we like it or not. Those are the understandings which are thrust upon us. Now this COVID-19 pandemic has created an era of radical uncertainty. So at the same time, every crisis will have two phases. One is the threat side, the other one is opportunity side. We have to minimize the threat and maximize the opportunity side of it. When I understand the opportunity side of COVID-19 pandemic, from the point of view of understanding the educational scenario and certain revival packages, then there are wonderful opportunities for radical reform and also realigning our priorities and certainly tweaking policies in pursuit of the greater common good. Because we have to conduct the classes for completing the uncompleted syllabus or the portion. Then we have to conduct examinations and you have to announce the results so that the students, particularly in the final year, can try to find admission to their higher education and also find jobs if they are employable. So from that point of view, three things are very, very important. That is what I say, 3 R's. One is the relief, the other one is the recovery, the third one is the reform. So as far as this is concerned, we are highly delighted and we are blessed in the governance of Sri Modi ji, because of yesterday's 20 lakh crore package is really a welcome and a bold step from the Prime Minister of India. Therefore, we are highly blessed. From this point of view, now the question is, will it be possible for us to invite our students and conduct classes just like in a very conventional manner as we did before this COVID-19 pandemic? Mostly it is not possible because we have to maintain social distance and we cannot accommodate 60 students in a class. We may have to adopt a staggering mechanism to conduct classes in shifts. The classes may have to begin at 7 a.m. It may last up to 7 p.m. So there may be several batches. Then another thing is, unless we make the campus very safe, hygienic and healthful, inviting students and conducting classes in a very, very traditional manner may not be a welcome proposition. Therefore, the e-learning is what we understand today, a visible thing. From that point of view, in the days to come, we may have a package like 1/3 e-learning, 1/3 conventional teaching learning within the classroom, and 1/3 experiential learning. May not be in the field always, maybe based on the desk work. Therefore, that may be a perfect blend of e-learning and C-learning with an input of experiential learning. I work, so I learn. This kind of experience is possible. So the idea is now every student and teacher must respect the philosophy called look beyond the curriculum, because context first, then the content. Earlier we were talking about the inputs, then the transformation process within the classroom. It is not possible now. Then we were also interested in measuring and valuing the output. But today we see that whatever the output in the form of knowledge is of no use. We are interested in the outcomes, the end result of possessing the knowledge. Today, 3 E's, one of the letters of English alphabet is E. 3 E's are creating a lot of importance, particularly in the post-COVID-19 situation. That is education. The second E is employability. Third one is employment. All these days we were focusing on only on 2 E's, education and employment, forgetting about the middle, very important critical link called employability. Because my assertion is, in India there is no unemployment problem provided we are employable. Therefore, today qualification is not equal to competency. Competency, according to me, is determined by 5 key elements, Panchamam Karyasiddhi. K, A, S, H, V. K stands for domain specific application oriented knowledge. A stands for attitude. We need to demonstrate positive mental attitude. S stands for skill mix, life skills, soft skills, and different kinds of skills required to perform our job better than before. Then X stands for habits, learning habits, which will be carried forward to the workplace called work habits. Then V is nothing but values. Because we know in our holy scriptures, it is said that values left in our children touches their destiny more than valuables left to them. Therefore, competency is determined by knowledge, attitude, skills, habits, values. Kash V. Kash tu meri hoti to. Easy to remember. Kash V. Therefore, at this point of time, we must understand unconventional or out-of-box thinking is required. All these days we were answering the questions. Now there is a paradigm shift, I think. We have to question the answers. Now we are erecting a fence to protect the crop. Just imagine if the fence itself is eating away the crop, what you have to do? Destroy the fence. Redefine the rules of the game. Look beyond the obvious. Every change or crisis brings about both change and opportunities. We have to take the untrodden path that is recommended. In that case, India will definitely stand out in the crowd. Under these difficult circumstances, there will not be any problem. Therefore, we have to measure and assess the short-term and long-term impact of the COVID-19 impact. And our students must be well versed with the disaster management and its aspects. Blended learning is recommended. And we have to take the university to the village. As Dr. Ananda Bose said, the real India resides in the rural areas, the farming sector, and also the farming sector, and also homeless, urban poor, and the migrant workers. They should be taken care of. Then the real India lies in the hands of the youth. Therefore, they are holding the promises, and we can definitely make it. Therefore, and we need not worry about the COVID pandemic and its continuous spread. India is blessed with another important thing called dirtiness exposure dividend. Because all these days, India, we know we are sons of the soil. If we get soiled, that itself is a kind of antidote, and we are getting better immunity. Therefore, thanks to our earlier unhygienic life, which will come very handy today. Therefore, higher immunity as compared to the rest of the world is possible because of this dirtiness exposure dividend. Therefore, we have to look at this education scenario with a different lens. That is what I feel at this moment, Mr. Lal Goyal.
Thank you, Dr. Subramania, especially
Thank you.
For your words that you are taking the universities to the village. Yeah. That is what is required today. Because if we develop the village, the time will not be there, then the cities and the metros can be developed. I remember at the time of launch of Village TV, you and Dr. Bose, how actively, and even our third panelist, CA Valerian Dalmeda, how actively you people promoted that Village TV concept, which is going to be the next future thing going to happen. Because once the village people will start talking about their self, about the products, about the produce, definitely the products and what they are producing can get the global attention. Like what our Honorable Prime Minister had mentioned yesterday, the brands which were developed locally, internationally earlier became international brand. The time has now come that the India has to develop those brands locally and which will become international brand future. Thank you very much, Dr. Subramania, for giving such inspiring thoughts.
Thank you.
Now our next panelist is CA Valerian Dalmeda. What to say about him? He is a Abu Dhabi based NRI. He is a socio-economist. And he is a person who is a media, he claims he is a media visionary. I say you are not only media visionary, but you are a media baron. Because what you are seeing today, or what you have seen in past, even the top media houses in India are not seeing even now. You have seen beyond them. You are seeing for last so many years, and you can splice the future and the thought about the Village TV. That is the real history and story today. Because if we have the village TV, because we all are talking about the villages now. We have forgotten our villages earlier. We were talking only about the financial hub, either Mumbai or Delhi or Ahmedabad or Bangalore or Hyderabad or Gurgaon or Noida. But now we are all talking about the village. And he is a person who believes in microfinancing. I had a long chats with him. I am happy, and I must be saying that I have been enlightened by him on many things. And we have a long discussions about the Indian economy. And I got many ideas from him also. I must give thanks to him. He's a person, although he is in Abu Dhabi based, but his mind, his soul, his body is here. He's always talking 24/7. He's ready to talk to us any moment. Whenever I give a call or he gives me a call, he's ready to talk. So now, CA Valerian D'Almeida, now you might have heard the complete speech of our Honorable Prime Minister yesterday. And what package he has announced is really what we were discussing. And in my article, which I have circulated and you have also commented, that we wanted this type of package, because less than this package, India economy cannot survive. Although the other association, whether FICCI or SOCHM, has not asked this much. But I was very clear from the very beginning, and you have also supported me, that until unless we will not have this much package, the on their own will not only survive, not only revive, but will lead other countries. So we would like to know from you that how you are planning to give the microfinancing, and you think the future, because now migrants, the reversal migration is taking place. So many people are reaching to the village. The village is having a capacity, as you know well, that we are about having 6.5 lakhs villages in India, with on an average about 1,000 to 1,300 population. So when these migrants will reach to village, definitely there will be a load on village. And your ideas are very, very critical at this stage. So we would like to know your ideas about the future of India and impact of the COVID on India. Mr. C.A. Valerian D'Almeida, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goyal. I thank Dr. Anand Bose, Mr. Bhimrao, Dr. Subramaniam, and they have very well ideated the COVID-19 post scenario. In Kannada, Dr. Subramaniam, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, will know this. Nanna hridaya nanna tainadige midiyuttade. Though I am sitting in Abu Dhabi, always I think of my home country and my homeland. The juncture has come, another Kannada saying, Marali Mannige, return to the soil. So there was a film in Kannada acted by Rajkumar, and it broke in those times all history, Bangarada Manusha, where the importance was given to the agriculture, land tilling, producing of farming, all agricultural produce, and how the soil can convert this land into a gold mine. So this is the message today. First of all, thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister for announcing 20 lakh crore package. From the last 2 months, I, with Lal Goyal, were banging the doors, and finally the doors have opened. The scripture says, knock the door and it shall be opened. And finally it has opened. The first of all, scripture also says that we should feed the hungry. Because when there is hunger, man cannot think. So first and foremost, I hope Dr. Bhimrao is listening. We should feed 75% of the population which is going hungry today. So the first thing is feed them. They have returned to their homeland. I don't call them as migrants. I call them assets of the villages. They have returned with lot of skill sets. Therefore, first give them, feed their hunger, and then give them training. Once their hunger is fed, they will start thinking. Because they have returned with their skill sets, they need training. How to implement their skills into the development of the villages. Desperation leads either to development or to disaster. So we need to concentrate on the second one, the first one, the development. The development happens when agriculture and nature combines. We will honor the nature. We will not use it, degrade it, but we will honor it. And honoring of the nature will come by agriculture. The agriculture will feed the people and the nation. Bhimrao said that we are going to be, India is going to be the 21st century country. We will lead, but we will lead when we feed the hungry. When we feed the hungry, the people in the villages, they are the asset of the country and they will start feeding the nations. I'm not saying India, but they will start feeding the nations. So this is the lesson that we have learned. Come back, as Dr. Anand Bose says, come back to your homeland, that is the nature, the agriculture and the village. There is a great model which is given by the father of the nation, born in 1869, October 2. We celebrate that, and this is a fitting celebration of his birth for this India, the land of richness. He has given a lesson of Gram Swaraj. So all of us have to now focus on the villages which have become the epicenter of development. The media has to zoom their lenses to the epicenter of the villages. We have no dearth in intelligence and ideas. I say we have a strong eye, that is intelligence. And we have to make our another eye very strong, that is India. And this is possible if we bring two more eyes, that is internet and infrastructure. When internet is brought to the villages of India, there will be miracles. When infrastructure is created all throughout the Indian villages, there will be miracle. These two eyes will make our intelligence and ideas to a strong India. And I believe the villages are the epicenter now. Everybody has to focus on the villages. And once the focus is there on the villages, villages will feed the hunger, thirst of all the nations. And that is how we can become the 21st century India. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CA Valerian Dalmeda, for giving your thoughts about 4 eyes which are required to develop the country and especially the villages. And I'm sure that the main thrust of our country right now is to develop the villages. If villages will be developed, then definitely the country will be developed. And Gandhiji always says that if you want to see the future of India, see towards the villages. So I'm sure that with these type of thinking what we have and what the government of India is thinking, definitely the day is not far when our villages will be self-sufficient, self-independent, self-reliant. Now, I am going to the next panelist, although I should have gone for the first time to him, because health is the main thing today. And about 2 months back, when Honorable Prime Minister has asked, we all clapped for our health workers, health people, doctors, and everyone. So today we have a very eminent panelist. He is Dr. Raman Goyal. He is the president of Indian Association of Gastrointestinal Endosurgeons, IAGES, which have more than 8,000 surgeons as members. Dr. Goyal has been conferred recently the honorary FRCS by Royal College of Surgeons, Edinburgh. Dr. Goyal is a renowned bariatric surgeon based at Mumbai. Now, before I will go to Dr. Goyal, today we know that we have two types of emergencies. One is medical and another is economic. All our panelists before this have spoken about economics. Yes, Dr. Subramanian has included the education also. But you being a medical doctor, you are facing the main things in the front. And I have read your article where you have mentioned what the government should do, and you have given a lots of suggestions about the hospitals and doctors, the situation of the hospitals and the doctors. And that article was taken by even the Honorable High Court has asked you, based on that article, to give the suggestions, because there was some PIL was filed and your article was quoted in that. And I'm sure that you have filed those suggestions. Can you enlighten us what types of suggestions you have given to Honorable High Court, and how we can, because now the situation has come where few people says the lockdown will go, and once the lockdown will go, immediately the more cases will come up. Few says no, now more cases will not come. Peak has come, peak has not come. So we all talk, because it is very easy to become a doctor. Everybody is becoming a doctor today. Everybody is talking like they knows everything in and out. But being a doctor, can you just enlighten us and tell the real facts and the problems which a medical fraternity is facing today, and what are the solutions which you have suggested, and which suggestions you would like to give to the Honorable Prime Minister or the Government of India also. Please, Dr. Raman Goyal, please.
Good morning. So I think this is in the way things are going on, that economy has taken precedence over healthcare at the moment. But we must realize that pandemic is not over. Those of you who follow the international media will realize that Dr. Fauci, who is a consultant to the American government, has said that if you open up the economy now, the pandemic may come in such a big way that it will be difficult to control. So I think what is required is a balance between the two. So first and the foremost is that we have just started into pandemic. Even the union government agrees that we have to learn to live with virus, and the virus is not going to go away. So at the end of the day, almost 50% of the population will get infected with virus. So the numbers that we are seeing, the slowing, which has been so wonderfully done with the lockdown, has only given time to the governments, to the healthcare sector to prepare for what is going to come. Because Indian healthcare sector is very different than the Western healthcare sector. The public sector, the government healthcare sector had always been the weak link in the entire system, while private healthcare used to provide the major part of the healthcare system. So what happened was that when pandemic came, most of the healthcare system, private or public, wasn't prepared for it. And there are no role models. Every other time we had role model that we can inherit something from Britain, we can inherit something from a European country or any other country. This time their models are themselves struggling. So I think if lockdown was done, it was only done to prepare the healthcare system to face the real problem. And it has succeeded in a big way. But what has happened is the healthcare sector is a state subject. And in absence of a model, every state tried to implement whatever inputs they could get from their own experts and bureaucrats. And that has led to a situation where there are differential healthcare systems across country. So 1 month down the lockdown, we analyzed the healthcare systems of different states and published it. And this is what you meant when you said there was a PIL filed in Mumbai High Court, and they quoted our article, because it is not a question of blame, but some healthcare systems did well, some did not do so well in some states, and based on many factors. Cities like Mumbai, Delhi, and some places in Kerala got a lot of international tourists, got a lot of returnees from foreign destinations, and they suddenly had a very large number of patients to start with, compared to smaller cities where the international airport is either not there, or even if it is there, the number of travelers was not so high. So these cities were caught unawares, and the healthcare system had to evolve to catch up with the load which was already there. While in other states, let's say Assam, or even your state like Karnataka, had more time to prepare because the patient load was not there initially, and they got that time because of lockdown to prepare well. So it is not. So what we did was we analyzed those models, and we suggested to the government. And now we see some of our suggestions have already been implemented. So what we have done is that the first most important suggestion that we made was to start a helpline where a patient, anybody, can call up and say, I have cough, I have fever, and I think I have got a COVID. Where will I get a bed? We are seeing this situation in bigger cities, that patients are running between hospitals to find a bed. But if there is a centralized helpline in today's India, where call centers and where technology is so easily available, this is a very simple thing to implement. That a centralized inventory of beds across the city, and the person just has to give call. After we made this suggestion, just about 5 to 6 days later, this was the first thing that got implemented in Maharashtra, that they started a helpline called number 1916, and you can call up, you can get information about the COVID, you can get an ambulance through that, and you can even book a bed in a hospital through that. Unfortunately, because of the rapid rise in number of patients, the number of beds are falling short. But this helpline was probably the most important. It should be done in every state. And there is no reason, one can outsource this to call centers, and one can have 1,000 lines. No call should remain unattended. Nobody should have complained that I have to go to a hospital and I was refused. Everybody has a phone in India, and this is doable. And it has been done, at least in Maharashtra, I know that. The second thing was that, unfortunately, the government started involving private sector. So our healthcare system has already been overloaded with regular patients with diabetes, patients with obesity, patients with blood pressure, hundreds of other illnesses. So when the COVID came, it was decided that we'll suspend our regular work. We will try or do only emergencies. But what about those thousands and lakhs of patients who are routinely using these hospitals? So the second the advice that we gave to these governments, and now it's not only to Maharashtra government, we have given it to central government, to various governments in West Bengal and other states. The second advice that we gave is that the government should use the medical colleges only for COVID treatment. Now, each of these medical colleges have a bed strength of 2,000 to 3,000 beds. And this is basically, again, as I said, this has come from models from Karnataka and Assam, that we said that these medical colleges, like in Mumbai alone, we have about 12 medical colleges. So 12 into 2,000 minimum, some of them are even 3,000 to 4,000 beds, will be about 24,000 beds. And we cannot be short. But what is happening is in many of the cities, medical colleges continue to provide regular healthcare services, which can be shifted to private hospitals, and the government hospitals can manage only COVID. Even if they have empty beds, let them wait for the tsunami to hit. Tsunami of COVID patients has not hit India because of lockdown. So as the economists and experts in your panel are very rightly saying that this has to be opened, we should be prepared to face this tsunami by using the medical colleges. And we sent these proposals to some experts in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, and they said we are already doing almost the same. So there are many states which are doing it. Many states are doing a different model. It's not a flawed model, but a model which can be improved. So that was the second thing. And the third thing that we suggested was that the private healthcare should be left alone to handle the crowd of patients which have been coming to them for years. And also the patients who are going to medical colleges or government hospitals should also go to private healthcare, and private healthcare should be ready to offer free or highly subsidized treatment to them through the government schemes. Now, Maharashtra government has again implemented this suggestion within about 10 days of our making the whole, giving the whole list of suggestions. So that has gone in. I think the private sector has been allowed to reoperate. This is the only state which has officially given that you can start regular surgeries, regular treatment to all the patients who are coming to private hospitals. So I think that that's a major thing, and this has to be applied. And another suggestion that got implemented today morning, I was seeing in the newspaper, was a teleconsultation. The government must provide a teleconsultation portal to the doctors, and where they can call, anybody can call up and they can get advice, either free or paid, depending on whether it's a government sector or a private sector. And that has also been implemented. One single number across the state, person can call up, can get help. So I think simple technology-driven solutions and a centralized approach, realizing the gravity of the situation, because when these, even with 20,000 patients in the entire state, if patients are not able to find a bed, this is going to happen in every city over a period of time. So we need to be prepared. If at this time we are not prepared, nobody will give an excuse to us, because now it is 2 months of lockdown. We need to be prepared, and I'm very happy to see that most of the states are able to augment their resources now. And this is how this thing is going to play. But overall, healthcare sector will be the one which will be most affected by COVID for various reasons. One is you may miss out, you will realize maybe a year later that many senior trusted doctors are no more, because the senior citizens, as we all know, are at a very high risk of COVID. And if they are working during this time, after a year, those people whom you trusted, who are the most respected doctors in the society, may not be there. Second thing is that because the workload of the private sector private hospitals has been reduced, most of the hospitals are owned by private individual doctors. They have taken loans, and now they are not in a position to pay back loans. So if this situation continues for another few months, I foresee that almost 50% of the nursing homes, which had been backbone of this country's healthcare system, will shut shop or will be closed. So I think as we realize, as economists realize that we must put in money in MSMEs and other corporate world, healthcare sector needs a lot of attention, because they will sail us through. When I say not me, I am not saying we. I think the entire healthcare sector, whether it's corporate, whether nursing homes or individual doctors, these are the ones who are going to sail us through this COVID crisis. So I think and this is an opportunity to develop government healthcare sector. You know, we all know how NHS works in United Kingdom. We need to have that because 70% of the people cannot afford private sector. This is a golden opportunity that we develop a healthcare system which support the poorest in the country. So I think, thank you for inviting me on this panel, because this is very important that these voices are communicated in the right ear. And we have been making a lot of efforts as an association, which we can talk later at some other forum.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for giving such a in-depth sight of the medical fraternity. And what you mentioned about the nursing homes closures, I think, and I'm now sure, after listening to yesterday's Honorable Prime Minister's speech, that the day will not be there, because Honorable Prime Minister has decided, and which I'm sure that Finance Minister is going to release very soon, all those loans or whatsoever the problems the nursing home owners or the doctors or the medical hospitals are facing are going to be sorted out by the government very, very soon. And because we have on our panelists Mr. Surabhi Bhumrao as well as Dr. Anand Bose, who are one of the voices for the government, we can say in one way, they will definitely take your suggestions and give to the government. And this government, the advantage is whatsoever the people says, but I realize that this government is listening if your advices are genuine and really beneficial for the public at large. Now, we are receiving lots of questions on WhatsApp. If our live questions, if you have anyone, we can take the questions, or if any of our panelists wants to speak and come right now, they are free to come anytime. But we can take the questions fast, because already we have crossed almost 1 hour in this, and everyone is busy. Dignitaries, I've taken time for 1 hour, but at least we should solve the questions or the answers to those questions which people are asking from all over the India. So shall I take, or you, if you want any questions, we will give the first preference to those who are present. Otherwise, we will start taking the questions from the yeah. So the first question which I'm taking now is which has come on the WhatsApp. It is for the Vice Chancellor. After lockdown, what changes come in students and teacher daily life during college and university?
Yeah.
Dr. Subramania, please.
Yeah. See, after lockdown, invariably we have to conduct examinations, and we have to announce the results of the final year of students. It means the 6th semester undergraduate and the 4th semester postgraduate. But here we may have to conduct, I don't know, that depends on the situation. When we are not in a position to invite the students to the classrooms and conduct the conventional type of examination, we may have to go for what you call online examination, multiple choice objective type online examination. Then it is kind of digital evaluation and the announcement of the results. Because in the month of May, it is not at all possible for conducting classes and also conducting examinations. If at all we have to conduct examinations or conduct classes, it may take place in the month of June or July. That is what I understand now.
This question was from Dr. Lalit Upadhyay, is a professor, Gyan Mahavidyalaya, Aligarh.
Yeah.
Now there is another question again for you, Dr. Subramania. It says your 3R theory useful for education system as well as 3E ideas. Q is the online study. What important role in India education system in rural India a rural area as well as urban, how can we achieve our goals for rural students? And this question has come again from, oh yes, not given the name.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Because our Mangalore University conducted a survey. Based on that survey, I can tell you 20% of the postgraduate students and 30% of the undergraduate students are not having access to the smartphone. Either they do not have the smartphone, or they have the smartphone but they do not get access to the smartphone because of the